Thunder, thunder, thunder. Thunder Wars. Thunder Wars. Thunder Wars. Thunder Wars.
Hey guys, Thunderhound 369 here, and today's the day. Today's the day when we're going to be sitting down, answering all your questions. Got my little bitty laptop here with all your questions here. I was going to print them off and just read them off, but ran out of ink. Also got a couple of. I do want to apologize. I did get a couple of video responses on this, but I want to apologize to one in particular. 1984 Porter. I would like to apologize to you because when I tried to incorporate your video bits into this video, the sound and the video just wasn't syncing up. I don't know if it was a problem with, I don't know where the problem was coming from, but I just couldn't put your video clips in with this. I do want to apologize to you for that, but bear with me, Porter. I took the time, I wrote down all your questions, and I'm going to answer them as best I can. I did get Lunacy 05. I did get your video clips. I edited yours down and managed to get everything in here, so we're going to start right off with a few questions from Lunacy 05. So with that being said, let's turn things over to him and see what we got, shall we?
Since we have G.I. Joe Renegades recently popped into the television, what are your opinions on G.I. Joe Renegades?
Wow, got in a little bit of a hurry there, didn't you, Lunacy? You didn't even introduce yourself, or didn't even say first question or nothing. You just blah right into G.I. Joe Renegades. Anyway, he's wanting to know what my opinions of G.I. Joe Renegades is. As far as overall, I have been watching the show. I've been enjoying the show, actually. I mean, there have been a couple of shows that I do want to apologize. Any kind of background noises you guys are going to hear from the kittens playing around in here in the room, because they don't have anywhere else to go like me. So anyway, they're going to be bouncing around here all over the place. But anyway, back to Lunacy 05's first question for the G.I. Joe Renegades is, I have been watching it. I have been enjoying it. But there have been a couple of episodes that just really didn't really garner my attention the way they should have. Most, I think the one was the homecoming with Duke going back to visit his parents, and the return to Arashikage for Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Those two just didn't appeal to me. But everything else has. You know, I waited to answer this question until after they introduced the Dreadnoks in this last episode, the Dreadnoks Rising. Man, I love the new Dreadnoks. They just look killer. Especially Zartan. I love Zartan's look. The badass biker dude just looks freaking badass. I love the new Zartan. I'm not really digging the new Cobra Commander animation. I don't like the way they're drawing him. I'm not liking that. The animation style is very unique. The comedy in the series doesn't seem like it's the usual dry humor we usually get with animated series, you know, where they try to force a joke, it sounds like. But in this one, the jokes seem like they're really well thought out, especially from Tunnel Rat, my favorite character from the series so far. But overall, to me, I know a lot of people are comparing G.I. Joe to other series, movies, stuff. To me, it seems like a combination between the A-Team. You compare the A-Team to the G.I. Joe team with Duke and Roadblock and those guys. You compare those guys with the A-Team with the complete intro. It all seems to be almost the same, because G.I. Joe, the A-Team, they're wanted for a crime they didn't commit. So they're running from their own government. Just much comparisons there. And they take Cobra, and you can compare it to the Umbrella Corporation from the Resident Evil video game series. It's a very similar style there with Cobra and the Umbrella Corporation, where they look good on the outside to the public, but behind the scenes you've got all this evil planning going on. I'm really digging that style of Cobra. I really like that style, the way they're doing that. What else? We've seen Major Blood get introduced. I love the way they're pulling out his origin, where he was caught with the explosion and it may have possibly scarred his face. So I like the way they're going to do that. And that car, the vehicle that Major Blood was driving in that episode, I don't know what they're going to be calling that thing if they release it as a toy, but to me it reminds me of a modified modern day Thunder Machine. So I don't know what they're going to call it, but that's what I called it when I first saw it, was the modern day Thunder Machine. Destro, if I'm not mistaken, the voice actor for Destro, if I'm not mistaken, is Clancy Brown, that did Lex Luthor in the Justice League Unlimited series. To me, he's not really pulling off that Scottish accent, but the character is just not there for me either. Destro's just not, and plus the Scrap Iron and Dr. Mindbender characters. Mindbender, no. Scrap Iron, if they work with him a little bit, I think they could bring him in as Scrap Iron. The Bio Viper, I'm not liking that. Just don't, I'll probably buy it if they release it as an action figure. I'll probably buy one, but you could probably make one from a Jello mold. But overall, G.I. Joe Renegades, it's different. It's a lot different than anything we're used to as old school G.I. Joe fans. But overall, my overall opinion of it is it's enjoyable. It really is. I like it, but...
Number 2. There are way too many superheroes made into Marvel Universe action figures, especially there's way too many Spider-Man variants. Oh yeah. Captain America, I have at least 4, I think. Thor, and Wolverine. But what supervillains should deserve to be made into a Marvel Universe figures? Name 5 of them.
Marvel Universe. Well, first of all, I wouldn't exactly classify this guy as a villain, so to speak, but they did portray him as a villain, sort of, back in the 80s when he was introduced. But I would like to see the Beyonder. I would really like to see a Beyonder figure. Number 2, I would really like to see Kang the Conqueror, unless I've missed out, unless they put one out and I've missed it somewhere. But I'd really like to see a Kang the Conqueror. Would really like to see a Fire Lord, because he's pretty much my all-time favorite of Galactus's heralds. I think he's just got an overall cool look. And that bow staff with the flaming ends, it's just cool, neat. And another one falls back onto another one of Galactus's heralds. Now I know he's not been in the comics in probably for several years now, but at one time there was a character called Airwalker. I would really like to see an action figure of Airwalker. I'd really like to see them pull him back into the modern day comic series as well, because Airwalker was basically just an android, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to bring him back up to modern day. And if you don't know who Airwalker is, look him up. He's got kind of a funny look, but he's really cool. And number 5. Now this one was an oddball one. It's just way out left field. Something that just snapping my finger hit me. I would like to see some dire wraiths. Yeah, the dire wraiths from the ROM comic book series. I mean, they're nothing, you know, it'd be something to just easily little troop builder with. They're like, I can't explain what they are. You guys would have to go check it, go look and see what those are as well. But those are my 5 for the Marvel Universe. So we're going to move on, and I apologize for the kitten squalling. So we're going to move on to his next question, see what he has to say there.
Number 3, similar question. I recently got into DC Universe Classics, and I am disappointed by the lack of supervillains in their line itself. What supervillains should deserve to be made into an action figure? Name 5 of them as well.
And we're back after Lunacy's 3rd question, which is pretty much the same as his 2nd question, only it involves DC Universe. What 5 villains would I like to see introduced into the DC Universe Classics line? Well, I could have easily just sat down and said an entire list of the Flash's rogues, but I tried to break it up as much as I could between the Flash, Superman, Batman. I tried to break it up as much as I could. So, number 1, since we have Captain Cold, I would really like to see Heatwave. Really would like to see Heatwave. Number 2 is Evil Star. The only, if I'm not free, is the Mad Hatter. Because, you know, I came into the DC Universe waves late, so unless I missed out on a Mad Hatter figure in an earlier wave from, like, I think I came in somewhere around wave 5 or 6, so if I've tried to look back through all of it. If there's a Mad Hatter figure out there, somebody let me know, because I don't know if there is, but I'd really like to see one. Number 4 is Vandal Savage. Now, Vandal Savage usually shows up in Flash comics constantly. You know, every so many months, here's Vandal Savage. But he's also been known to battle pretty much every DC Universe hero there is. So he would be like an all-encompassing. He's fought the Flash, the Justice League, Superman a few times. He's been here and there, so a Vandal Savage figure would be nice. And number 5, now it took me quite a while to remember this guy's name, but he comes out of the Bart Allen Flash series. Sort of his Reverse Flash Professor Zoom, you might say. A character called Inertia. That's right, Inertia.
Question number 4. Since the recent wave of superhero movies started to pop up more often, especially for 2011, we will have Captain America, Thor, and of course Green Lantern movies going to come up soon. Which superhero movie that's not being made do you think is well suited to be made into a live action movie?
Or not, I'd like to see Hawkman. Hawkman would make a good live action movie. So he didn't ask for a why, so I guess I don't have to explain a why, but I think he'd been an interesting character, he'd been an interesting movie. So Hawkman for number 4. And we'll move on to number 5, his fifth and final question from Lunacy05. Then we'll get into everybody else's questions.
And last but not least, question number 5. What cartoon from the 80s era should deserve to be made into a live action movie or be brought back again as a cartoon for 2011? And that's my 5 questions there.
And Lunacy's fifth and final question, it was a good one. I like it. What 80s cartoon toy line should be brought back or made into a movie? I like it. Now, many of you guys know that I'm a Mask fan. Love those Mask vehicles, but I didn't want to cop out and say Mask. I actually sat and thought about it. And I'm going to say Mask. I can't help it. But so, we're going to move on to 1984 Porter. And I do, again, so Lunacy, I want to thank you for your questions. I want to thank you for your participation in this. I got quite a bit of participation in this overall. I wasn't expecting so many. And I really enjoyed the fact that so many of you guys actually asked so many questions. I'm really enjoying this. So, again, Lunacy, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope I answered all your questions to your liking. So we're going to move on to 1984 Porter now. And, again, I do apologize for not being able to get your video synced in with all this, but the video and the audio just wasn't cooperating. It seemed like all your video was at least had a 5 to 10 second lag between your video and your sound. I don't know. You know, when I first watched the original video, when I first watched it, everything was perfect. But when I tried to put it together, it just went. So, your first question, and what he done is he showed like he would show an object and ask me what it is. So, the first one that he showed, he says, "Who's this?" And he showed Block Rock, the little bird from that goes with the partner that goes with the blaster, the Cybertron blaster repaint of Cybertron Soundwave. That's who you were showing me there, is Block Rock. Now, as far as he showed a wrestler action figure, and from what I could really get a look of, is it looked like Randy Macho Man Savage. So there's that one. His third question is, what's this little guy's name? And he showed Chopster from the Power Core Combiners, partnered with Smolder. So he showed off Chopster and wanted to know who that was. Wanted to know if I knew who it was, so it was Chopster. One of the better mini-cons in the entire 2-pack series, in my opinion. Number 4 is he had a Sharpie, and he wanted to know what color the Sharpie was. But the way he's doing this is he had like a green cap on it, but he said it wasn't green. So, I could easily just pick a color out of the top of my head and say this is what the color was. But I'm going to answer this totally at random. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say it was green, blue, orange, red, pink, yellow, black, purple. That's what it was. That's what color it is. It's red, green, pink, purple, blue, yellow, orange, gray, pink, whatever. That's what color it is. So that way, when you tell me what color it is, I'll have one of those colors in there and I'll be right. That's my answer. I'm sticking to that. Okay, number 5. He's wanting to know how much, he wants to know if I know this, how much is Marvel's Secret Wars issue number 8 worth? And if I don't know how much it's worth, he wants to know what happens. If I know what happens. Well, I don't know how much it's worth. But I know when I picked my copy up, I missed that one. when it was first released. That was pretty much issue 8 and 11 were the two that I missed the first time around when it came out in the 80s. I finally managed to get number 11. I finally managed to get number 8 about 4 or 5 years ago, I want to say, and I paid at least $8 for mine at a comic book shop. I know I could have got it cheaper, but the head honcho that runs the shop wasn't there, and I was dealing with some little off the street kid that didn't know a whole lot about comics. He was just there for a job. So I don't know exactly how much it's worth, and no, I didn't look it. I didn't look it up. I didn't even try. And he wants to know what happens. And as far as I know, as to what happens, that's the episode where the Hulk went to take a dump and he sat down on the toilet somewhere in Dr. Doom's dungeon of torture, and when he sat down, it broke the toilet. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. I'm kidding. That didn't happen. That's the infamous introduction, the origin of Venom. It's the book that started it all. That's where Peter Parker finds the symbiote in what he thought was a costume making machine, and that's what started it, the whole Venom onslaught, you might say. Even though that first explanation wasn't too bad, the Hulk going to take a dump, no, I just can't go with that. But anyway, moving on. So that's what happens to that one, Porter, is we get the symbiote costume, which he brings back to Earth, and eventually we get Venom, which eventually leads to Carnage. Number 6 is, what 3 colors would you have if you were a seeker? In other words, if I could be a seeker jet like Starscream, Thundercracker, Ramjet, what 3 colors would I have? 1, definitely be black. Second would be gold. And finally, I would have to go with purple. Yep, purple. Those would be my 3 colors. Black, gold, and purple. Number 7 is, what Batmobile is this that he showed? He held up a Batmobile, and that would be the Batmobile from the 1965 Adam West, Burt Ward Batman television series. Number 8. What Bionicle is this? I don't know. I don't know. Plain and simple. I don't know. My wife is the Bionicle collector. I just put them together. I just put them together and look at them. She buys them. I don't know who that is. So, number 8 is for me. I don't know. Number 9. What is your favorite candy and food, if I like food? Well, I'm a fat boy by choice, so that means I love food. So my favorite candy is pretty much Milky Way candy bars. I love Milky Ways, especially, anything with caramel in it. So I'm a big sucker for caramel. My favorite food, that's actually a tie. That's a toss-up tie that, I can flip a coin and you get one, and I'd be mad at myself for not saying the other. So that's a tie between pizza and tacos. Big pizza eater. Big taco eater. As a matter of fact, I could go for a taco pizza right now. Okay, moving on to number 10. You like Coke or Pepsi? I actually prefer Coke. I don't like Pepsi. It's too sweet. Coke's got that sharp taste to it. But actually I prefer cherry Coke. Number 11. what's this guy's name? And he showed Claw from the Marvel Universe superhero, Marvel Universe Secret Wars comic book 2-pack, Claw. That's who it is. And I'm not looking at mine because mine's in storage. Number 12. What's your opinion on this custom Human Torch? Looks pretty good. Looks great. Can't wait to see it when it's finished. Number 13. What's your favorite ramen noodles? He kind of threw this one out at the last minute because he said he was getting hungry and was going to go eat some ramen noodles. So then he threw that one up and said, what's your favorite ramen noodle? Mine would have to be a combination. You take chicken, take beef, put them together. And my computer just quit. So, I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to get the computer back up and running again so that I can read the rest of these questions. Be right back.